hospital was under construction. There had always been a plan to include integrated artworks into the building, and so a series of commission briefs were put out, and I saw the brief for this particular site, and I'd been working on some really big drawings using this method, and as soon as I saw the brief I thought that fits really nicely with what I'm doing at the moment and would like to do, and I think it would work really well in the space. So I put together a proposal for this space along those lines, and I was offered the commission. The design developed first of all from the brief, because I came to look at the space and I could see that there were the windows that needed privacy, and there was this very dramatic long curved wall. I think it's nearly 30 metres, maybe even slightly more actually, and I wanted to unify the whole space, so use the whole space, not just the windows. I was aware that in a healthcare environment, people are often under a lot of stress when they're here, or they're unwell, or they're worried about loved ones, so I wanted it to be something that would be a reminder of the natural world, that would have a fascination that might just take you out of what's going on for you at that moment, so draw you in to look at the detail, and have a bit of a wow factor as well, because it's such a dramatic space when you walk in. So I drew inspiration from Orkney's natural environment. It's a very dynamic environment. There's a lot of wind and weather and the sea. You're always crossing the sea, and also the clouds are passing by. So I was thinking about water flowing through all of these different states as it moves through the natural environment. And I decided to put the most sort of dramatic waveforms as you come in through the door, so that when you come in the door, that's the first thing that you see. And then as you move through, it moves from a sort of blue-green colour palette towards more of a blue, almost cobalt blue, towards the sanctuary end, where it becomes a calmer kind of mood. It's more like cloud forms, or a still pool of water. And then again, as you move back around the curve, it becomes more like weather systems. It starts to become more dynamic again. I wanted the background to have a natural kind of texture of a painting. So the background was produced 1:4 scale in my studio on big long tables, and I laid down washes of gouache with quite a lot of water in them, and let them evaporate to get the textures of the paper coming through and the depth of the colour. And there were lots and lots of layers of it. I worked on that for quite a while before I even started on the drawing that goes over the top of it. And then the original drawings had to be wrapped up and sent south to a specialist scanner, fine art scanner, to get the kind of image resolution, because it was going to be blown up by 4 times. So to get it really crisp, I had to have it sent off, and he sent them back, and also sent me back these enormous files, these digital files that had the background. And then I drew over them using a program called Illustrator. So the little bubble drawings were done digitally, so that when they're blown up, they're just as crisp. I drew every single one of these bubbles by hand. And it took a very, very, very long time. Once the drawing files were eventually completed, I sent them off, and they were printed off on great big rolls of vinyl, which means it's really durable and scuff resistant, and it also could be installed quite quickly. I couldn't be here like Michelangelo for months and months painting on site, because it was a building site. And they also produced the frosted vinyl for the windows, so the windows admit light, spaces inside, natural light from this hub area, but it gives them some privacy as well. So when I was working on the drawings, what I was really keen to try and achieve was a sense of depth, so that there is a sense of you're looking through layers. So as you look through the layer that has all the bubbles, you can see the textures beneath that create a sense of depth. A bit like when you're looking through the surface of water and you're getting glimpses of what's underneath it. So that in some places there are lots of layers of extra drawing just peeking through, like the sort of honeycomb texture that comes through, maybe like seaweed forms or coral forms or various kind of organic forms that emerge. So it was to create that sense of depth to it. It wasn't just like a flat kind of surface that I was looking for. You might think about dramatic waves as being quite a sort of, not a very calming kind of image. But because it's made in such a slow, meticulous process, it becomes quite calming. It's a bit like looking at lace. And I think when people see it and realise that it has been hand-drawn, that they identify with that craft element of it, that it's like producing a piece of knitting or something like that repeated activity. It's quite meditative. And I think that gives it that mixture of being dynamic and quite visually exciting, but also quite calming, and having that association with the natural world when you're in a hospital environment is, it's proven to be beneficial for healthcare outcomes. There's a lot of research being done into that.